The reason most people never rise beyond mediocrity is not because they lack talent. It's because they've become comfortable in the prison of procrastination. Today, I came to break those chains. If you're lazy, this message is going to offend you. But if you're hungry for purpose, it will awaken something in you that no motivational quote ever could. 7 hard-hitting truths to shake a lazy mindset. Comfort is a silent killer of destiny. Comfort is a silent killer of destiny. It doesn't come with a gun or a loud voice. It whispers. It convinces you that you've done enough for today. It tells you to sleep a little longer, rest a little more, and take the pressure off. But what it never tells you is that while you rest, your opportunity is getting up and walking away. Comfort isn't the enemy because it looks dangerous. It's the enemy because it feels good. It gives you just enough pleasure to make you forget your potential. Have you ever seen someone so gifted, so talented, but still stuck in the same place for years? It's not because they aren't capable. It's because they got cozy in their comfort zone. They learned how to survive where they were instead of pushing toward where they were meant to go. They built a tent in the middle of mediocrity and called it peace. But the truth is, peace without progress is just disguised paralysis. Think about your phone. When it's on power saving mode, it still works, but with limited functionality. That's how many people live power saving mode. Not because they're not powerful, but because they've chosen comfort over capacity. You're running on half your potential because full potential requires pressure. It demands energy. It pushes you into rooms you don't feel ready for. And that's why many avoid it. Not because they can't, but because they won't. Let's get practical. How many times have you had a great idea, but didn't act on it? You felt it stirring. It excited you. You could see the vision. But when it came time to move, comfort whispered, let's do it tomorrow. And tomorrow became next week. Next week became next year. And now someone else is doing what you were too lazy to begin. Comfort cost you that opportunity. You didn't lose it. You gave it away. And here's the harsh truth: life doesn't reward intentions. It rewards execution. You don't get points for thinking about being great. No one claps because you had a dream. The world only respects what you build, what you fight for, what you produce. Comfort keeps you dreaming without doing. It makes you an expert in vision, but a novice in action. Imagine a seed with the potential to become a mighty tree, but it's never planted because it fears the dirt. The soil is uncomfortable, it's dark, it's tight. Growth requires resistance. Roots must struggle downward before branches rise upward. Comfort says, avoid the dirt. But destiny says, get buried in the process so you can rise with purpose. The tree inside the seed will never emerge if it remains in a safe, untouched packet. Likewise, your future will never manifest if you continue hiding behind easy days and low standards. Let me ask you, what have you stopped pushing for because comfort told you it was too hard? What dream did you delay because the work looked painful? What call did you ignore because the journey required more than your lazy habits were willing to give? There are people right now succeeding with less talent than you because they chose effort over ease. They said no to sleep, no to distraction, no to their own feelings. And while you were watching motivational videos, they were becoming one. While you were sitting around thinking, they were moving. And movement creates momentum. Comfort creates stagnation. Some of you are talented, but your bed is your God. Your phone is your temple. Your distractions are your worship. And yet, you cry out wondering why life isn't changing. It's not a mystery. Your comfort has become your prison. You're not locked in by circumstances. You're locked in by choices. Every snooze button is a chain. Every excuse is a padlock. And every day you choose to stay still is another brick in the wall between you and your destiny. You want change? Then get uncomfortable. You want growth? Get up before the world does. Turn off the TV. Turn off the noise. Turn on your discipline. Do what's required, not what's convenient. Because the truth is, your purpose doesn't care about your comfort. It doesn't ask how you feel. It doesn't wait for your emotions to catch up. It shows up every day, waiting for you to match its level of seriousness. Comfort tells you to settle. Destiny tells you to stretch. Comfort tells you you've done enough. Destiny says there's more. Comfort keeps you looking successful while dying inside. But destiny demands you look foolish for a season to become powerful for a lifetime. You must choose. Every day you're making a silent agreement either with your laziness or your legacy. And you can't have both. Your excuses are well-packaged lies. Your excuses are well-packaged lies. They wear the disguise of logic, but they are built on fear. They sound smart. They sound justified. They even sound like truth when you repeat them often enough. But at their core, they are simply dressed up permission slips for laziness. Excuses are the prison guards of average. They are the well-tailored suits worn by procrastination. And if you don't learn to expose them for what they really are, they will rob you blind, not of your money, but of your future. Let's break it down. You say you don't have enough time. That's a lie. You scroll social media for hours. You binge watch shows late into the night. You take naps you didn't earn. Time isn't your problem. Prioritization is. If you tracked how you used every hour of your day for just 1 week, you'd be embarrassed by the gap between your desires and your discipline. The real issue is not the number of hours in a day. It's the number of excuses you've chosen to accept. How about this one? I'm too tired. Of course you are. Everyone is tired. Tired is the price of ambition. Champions wake up tired and still move. Builders wake up exhausted and still create. Tired is not an excuse. It's a signal. It's telling you you're doing something. But instead of interpreting tiredness as a badge of progress, lazy minds interpret it as a reason to stop. There's nothing noble about quitting when you're tired. Real power comes when you produce in the middle of your fatigue. That's what separates the talkers from the doers. Some say, I'm waiting for the right time. That sounds wise, it sounds strategic. But the truth is it's a delayed tactic wrapped in sophistication. The right time rarely exists. There will always be something missing. Not enough money, not enough support, not enough clarity. And if you wait until every light is green before you leave the driveway, you'll stay parked for the rest of your life. The right time is not something you wait for. It's something you create by moving. Action brings alignment. Sitting still brings nothing but dust. Maybe you've said, I'm not ready. But what if I told you that readiness is often a myth created by comfort? If you wait to feel ready, you'll never begin. Because readiness isn't a feeling. It's a decision. No great athlete feels ready every day. No successful leader feels prepared for every challenge. But they show up anyway. They act in faith, not fear. They understand that movement reveals capacity. You don't find out what you can handle by planning. You find it out by engaging the pressure and adapting inside the moment. And then there's the excuse that goes like this: I've tried before and failed. So, failure is not a final statement. It's feedback. The only people who never fail are the ones who never try. If you let one failed attempt become a lifetime sentence of inaction, then the failure wasn't the problem. Your mindset was. Every inventor, creator, builder, and trailblazer has failed, some publicly, some painfully. But they didn't use failure as a couch, they used it as a classroom. They didn't camp in their collapse, they climbed from it. You don't drown by falling in water. You drown by staying there. Excuses sound reasonable until you look at them through the lens of truth. I can't start the business because the economy is bad. Tell that to the people who built empires in recessions. I can't go back to school because I'm too old. Tell that to the 60-year-old graduates who outperform their younger classmates. I can't work out because I'm too busy. Tell that to the single mothers who wake up at 5 a.m. to train before a 12-hour shift. The problem is not the circumstance. It's the story you keep telling yourself. Excuses are mental graffiti. They spray paint lies over your potential. And the more you allow them to stay, the harder it becomes to see who you really are. They paint unqualified on your mirror. They write not enough across your vision. But what they never show you is the truth. That every excuse you make is a chain around your future. Break one and you get a little freer. Break them all and you walk into a life most only dream of. Look at your own daily life. When your alarm goes off in the morning, what's the first voice you hear? Get up and chase purpose. Or 5 more minutes won't hurt. That 5 minutes becomes 15. That snooze button becomes a mindset. And before you know it, you're running behind, not just on time, but on your dreams. Excuses always start small. Just one missed task. Just one skipped day. Just one avoided responsibility. But small seeds grow into strong roots. And before long, your entire life is shaped by things you allowed once. You weren't born to live beneath your potential. But if you keep feeding yourself lies, you will die full of untapped greatness. Excuses are the language of fear dressed in the clothes of logic. And if you don't learn to silence them, they will convince you that average is acceptable, that delay is wise, and that comfort is success. But you weren't made for that. You were made to shake the earth with your gifts. Not hide behind stories that sound good but produce nothing. Your purpose will never bow to your feelings. Your purpose will never bow to your feelings. It doesn't negotiate with your mood. It doesn't wait for you to feel like it. Purpose is not emotional. It's eternal. You were not created to live according to how you feel, but according to what you were born to fulfill. And this is where most people go wrong. They let emotions become the engine and purpose the passenger. They let their temporary feelings drive permanent decisions. But feelings are fragile. They shift with the weather, the comments, the likes, the silence. If you live by feelings, you will be a slave to the day. But if you live by purpose, you will rise above the chaos and command your day. Imagine a surgeon who only operates when they feel inspired. A pilot who only flies the plane when they feel motivated. A firefighter who only rushes into flames when they feel energetic. The world would fall apart. And yet, this is how many treat their assignment: casually, emotionally, lazily. Purpose requires commitment, not convenience. It shows up whether it's raining or sunny, painful or peaceful, crowded or lonely. Your feelings are allowed to exist, but they are not allowed to lead. Too many people make the mistake of waiting until they feel better to do what they were designed to do. But here's the hard truth. If you keep waiting on a feeling, you'll miss the future. Destiny doesn't show up on days when you're happy. It shows up when you act, even when everything in you says, not today. Champions don't train because they feel like it. They train because their mission demands it. Builders don't build because emotions gave them permission. They build because they've been called to. Purpose makes demands that feelings are too weak to answer. Look at your daily life. You don't always feel like going to work. You don't always feel like paying bills. You don't always feel like showing up, but you do it because life requires it. And if you can do the bare minimum out of obligation, why can't you give your maximum out of conviction? Why can you show up to please your boss, but can't show up to serve your own vision? Why can you clock in for a paycheck, but not show up for your purpose? Let's get real. Feelings are not fact. Just because you feel tired doesn't mean you're weak. Just because you feel unqualified doesn't mean you're incapable. Just because you feel discouraged doesn't mean you're disqualified. If every legend, every giant, every innovator waited for perfect emotional conditions, we'd have no progress. You think the trailblazers always felt strong? No. But they showed up anyway. They cried and still led. They bled and still worked. They failed and still kept building. Because purpose wasn't optional to them. It was oxygen. People who are led by feelings live by excuses. They say, I'll do it when I feel ready. I'll move when I feel better. I'll try again when I feel stronger. But guess what? Life doesn't pause while you wait to feel ready. Purpose doesn't shrink to fit your comfort zone. While you're nursing your emotions, someone else is taking your spot. While you're busy being in your feelings, someone else is busy being in position. You don't get points for sensitivity. You get results from discipline. Emotions make great indicators, but terrible leaders. Let me paint you a picture. Imagine a construction site. You have all the tools, all the materials, all the plans laid out. But you sit on a pile of bricks every day saying, I just don't feel like building today. Days become weeks, weeks become months. The tools rust. The materials expire. The vision fades. That's what happens when you let feelings run your life. You let what was meant to be built die in the waiting room of emotions. You were not built for stillness. You were not designed for delay. There is power inside of you, but it only activates through motion. Purpose ignites when obedience begins. When you do it even when your heart is heavy. When you speak even when your voice shakes. When you move even when your legs are tired. That's when the fire begins to burn. That's when the gift sharpens. That's when doors begin to open. Not when you feel good, but when you choose to be good despite how you feel. And let me tell you, feelings are short-term, but purpose is generational. Your emotions are momentary, but your impact can echo for decades. Think of a mother who doesn't feel like getting up at 3 a.m. to tend to her baby, but she does it anyway, not because it's convenient, but because it's her assignment. Think of an athlete who doesn't feel like practicing after a loss, but gets back up, not because he feels like it, but because the mission is bigger than the mood. Think of a teacher who shows up to the classroom, even when her own world is falling apart, not because it's easy, but because her calling doesn't answer to comfort. That's what separates the ordinary from the impactful. It's not talent. It's not background. It's not even opportunity. It's the refusal to let feelings interfere with faithfulness. Every time you override emotion to serve purpose, you're strengthening your destiny muscles. Every time you choose discipline over drama, you build a future that feelings can't destroy. Because purpose doesn't kneel to moods. It calls you higher, even when you'd rather sit down. Time is a currency lazy people spend on nothing. Time is a currency lazy people spend on nothing. It's the most valuable thing you own, but the easiest to waste. Unlike money, you can't earn time back. Once it's spent, it's gone forever. Yet every day, people act like they've got eternity in their pocket. They scroll, swipe, snooze, and sit, not realizing that every second they waste is a brick removed from the foundation of their future. Lazy minds treat time like it's cheap, like it's on sale, like it'll restock tomorrow. But time is a non-renewable resource. You don't get to replay today. You don't get a refund for an unproductive week. You don't get to restart the morning you slept through. What if I told you that how you spend your time reveals what you truly value? Don't tell me you want success if you're not investing time into growth. Don't say you want financial freedom if you spend more time on entertainment than education. Don't claim you're chasing purpose if you're always too busy to work on your gift. The truth is your calendar tells on you. Your daily schedule is the blueprint of your belief system. If your time is dominated by distractions, don't be shocked when your destiny feels delayed. Look around. People are not lacking talent. They are not lacking opportunity. They are not even lacking ideas. What they are lacking is urgency. They live like they've got a spare life in the closet. They move like time is unlimited. But time is not a friend to the lazy. It is a devourer of dreams for those who sleep through their calling. While you're debating whether to start, someone else is building. While you're binge watching another series, someone else is writing their book, developing their skill, mastering their craft. You don't need more time. You need more focus. Because the hours you waste today will become the regrets you cry over tomorrow. That extra hour of scrolling is the book you never wrote. That night of comfort is the opportunity you didn't seize. That week of procrastination is the business you never launched. Time isn't your enemy. Your habits are. Time rewards the disciplined and punishes the distracted. Lazy people think they have time. Wise people realize they must make time. Protect it, manage it, and multiply it. Let's bring this into real life. Think of the student who waits until the last minute to study. They complain they don't have enough time, but they had weeks. The time wasn't missing. The discipline was. Think of the entrepreneur who keeps saying, I'm still planning. Planning what? You've been planning for years with no execution. Planning becomes procrastination when it's not paired with movement. Or the person who says, I'll start working on my goals next month. But when next month comes, they're saying the same thing. The delay is comfortable. The laziness feels safe. But nothing grows in that soil. Have you ever seen someone win the lottery of time? No. We all get the same 24 hours. What separates the successful from the stagnant is not time, it's intention. The high achievers are not smarter. They are not more gifted. But they've made a decision. I will not waste the most precious currency I have. That's why they wake up early. That's why they protect their mornings. That's why they say no to things that don't feed their future. Because they understand every yes is a no to something else. If you say yes to comfort, you say no to growth. If you say yes to laziness, you say no to legacy. Lazy people are broke in time. They overdraft every day with worthless tasks. They scroll until their purpose is blurry. They gossip until their vision grows cold. They sleep through potential. They overthink and underact. They want the rewards of a focused person, but live with the discipline of a drifter. And the world doesn't pay you for what you intended to do. It pays you for what you consistently execute. Wasting time is not just irresponsible, it's self-betrayal. Imagine someone giving you Note 86, 400 every day and saying, you have to spend it all by midnight. Whatever you don't use, you lose. That's how many seconds you get daily. And most people use those seconds to argue, complain, delay, or coast. But the builders, they use those seconds to build muscle, to sharpen their mind, to develop their gift, to plan their escape from average. They don't let a single second fall to the floor without squeezing value from it. Because they know wasted time is just future poverty in disguise. You see, the clock is always moving, even when you're not. And for every hour you waste, someone else is growing, someone else is learning, someone else is becoming. The lazy mind says, it's just one day. But one day becomes 1 week. 1 week becomes 1 year, and 1 year becomes a lifetime of regret. Time doesn't ask you how you feel. It doesn't wait for your motivation. It keeps going. The question is, are you going with it? Some people are waiting for the perfect moment to get serious. But time has never promised you tomorrow. All you have is now this moment, this breath, this chance. What are you doing with it? Are you investing or wasting? Are you building or sleeping? Are you preparing or scrolling? Lazy people are experts at burning hours and then complaining about the ashes. But those who understand the value of time build while others talk. They grind while others gossip. They rise while others relax, because they know time is a currency. Spend it on purpose or lose it on nothing. Success is scheduled, not wished. Success is not a surprise party. It doesn't show up randomly to those who sit around and hope. It's not a lottery you win by accident or a magic trick that appears in your life when you're lucky. Success is scheduled, not wished. It's predictable. It's structured. It's disciplined. And lazy minds will always struggle with this truth, because they want the harvest without the planting, the victory without the warfare, the spotlight without the sweat. They want results without routine. But success doesn't obey emotions. It obeys patterns. It shows up to those who show up. It rewards those who plan, prioritize, and persevere. You can wish for a better life all day, but until you start building one, you'll keep living in the same cycle. Let's make this real. If you want a strong body, you schedule workouts. You don't say, I wish I was fit, while eating donuts and watching shows for 4 hours. You get up, you sweat, you plan your meals, you track your progress. Success is built into the calendar, not floating in the clouds. If you want to grow a business, you don't wait until you feel like it. You block time every day to study the market, sharpen your skill, connect with people, and make strategic moves. The ones who win didn't wake up one day with luck. They woke up with a plan. Look at any great athlete, leader, or creator. Their success is not a mystery. It's a result of a schedule. They train at set times. They study at set hours. They rest with intention. They don't let their day control them. They control the day. Lazy minds wait to find time. Focused minds make time. And that's the difference. Wishing says, I hope one day I get there. Scheduling says, here's when I'll arrive. You cannot manage your future until you manage your minutes. Every hour matters. Every morning sets a tone. Every night writes a result. Most people underestimate the power of a daily schedule. They think it's just a few wasted minutes. But minutes become hours, hours become days, and days become destiny. You don't drift into greatness. You discipline your way into it. The lazy mind avoids structure because it feels too strict. But what it calls restriction, the successful call freedom. Because a clear schedule gives you power. Power to say no to distractions, power to focus on what matters, power to build instead of react. Let's talk about your calendar. Is it chaos or clarity? Do you know what your next week looks like? Or are you living life on reaction mode, just responding to whatever shows up? Lazy people live in survival. Successful people live by design. They don't just hope their goals will fit in. They make space for them. They put them on the calendar before anything else. Their future is an appointment, not an accident. They don't find time to write the book, go to the gym, launch the idea. They schedule it like a non-negotiable meeting, because that's how you treat things that matter. You don't leave them up to emotion. You want to see your life change? Look at your routine. Your life is always moving in the direction of your most consistent habits. A lazy routine guarantees a lazy result. There's no mystery. You can wish all day, you can pray all night, but if your calendar is full of distraction and your mornings are surrendered to comfort, then success will keep skipping you. Not because you're not worthy of it, but because you're not ready for it. Some people have powerful dreams, but powerless schedules. They speak big things, but live small actions. They say, I want to be a leader, but wake up at noon. They say, I want to write a book, but haven't written a paragraph in months. They say, I want financial freedom, but their schedule has zero time for learning, planning, or execution. Wishing feels good, but only planning moves the needle. You don't build a legacy off excitement. You build it off consistency. Waking up early when nobody claps. Showing up on the hard days when your emotions say no. Keeping your word to yourself. The schedule is where champions are shaped. That calendar you ignore. That's the mirror of your future. If it's empty, so is your progress. If it's random, so is your outcome. Take a moment and think, if someone studied your last 7 days, Would they see a person on fire for their destiny? Would they see a life that reflects purpose or a pattern that reflects passivity? Because lazy people don't lose because they're not talented. They lose because they never organize their time around what matters. They want purpose without planning. But success is allergic to disorder. A dream written on a vision board without hours on a schedule is a lie in disguise. It makes you feel good but gets you nowhere. You can't wish your way out of poverty. You can't wish your way into influence. You can't wish your way into legacy. You schedule it. You structure it. You show up to it, even when no one is watching, especially when no one is watching. Look at a farmer. He doesn't just wish for a harvest. He wakes up early. He plants in season. He waters daily. He prepares the ground because he knows harvest isn't magic. It's management. And your life is no different. The results you want are already within your reach, but they will never submit to a lazy mindset. They only respond to a disciplined schedule. Not someday, not when I feel ready, but now, today, locked into your routine like your future depends on it. Because it does. Talent without work is dead potential. You can be the most gifted person in the room, but if you're lazy, your gift will rot in silence. Talent without work is a loaded gun with no trigger. It looks powerful, but it never fires. It never hits anything. You can be smart, creative, anointed, and full of potential, but if you don't apply pressure, you'll watch average people lap you with consistency. Hard truth. Someone with less talent than you is living the life you dream about. Not because they're better, but because they outworked you. Talent gives you a head start, but work is the only thing that gets you across the finish line. If you refuse to work, your gift becomes a prison. You live tormented by what could have been. Think about the talented student who never studies. Everybody knows they're brilliant, but brilliance without grind becomes brilliance with regret. Meanwhile, the student with less natural intelligence stays up, reads late, asks questions, practices problems, rewrites notes, and wins the scholarship. Why? Because effort always outruns ego. Talent gives you a spotlight. Work gives you the stage. Without work, your talent is just decoration. A nice thing people compliment, but never respect. Have you ever met someone who's full of ideas? They can talk for hours about what they're going to do, the business, the book, the invention, the platform. But 5 years go by and nothing has changed. Their talent is real, but their grind is invisible. People start saying, they're always talking but never doing. That's what happens when you don't put work behind your gift. People stop taking you seriously. Your name becomes a synonym for unfulfilled potential. Talent is not rare. What's rare is discipline. What's rare is showing up every day even when you don't feel like it. Lazy people love their gift but disrespect the process. They want to be seen, but they don't want to sweat. They want applause, but they avoid pressure. But you can't microwave greatness. If you want your gift to grow, you've got to plant it in discipline and water it with consistency. You've got to grind in the dark so your gift can shine in the light. Think of a gifted singer who never trains their voice. They rely on raw talent, no vocal exercises, no breathing control, no study of performance. One day, someone with less vocal range but more work ethic walks onto the same stage, and the crowd goes wild. Not because they're more talented, but because they're more polished. Talent is your foundation, not your ceiling. If you build nothing on it, it stays hidden. It becomes a burden. A person who never activates their gift ends up jealous of those who did. You were not born with talent so you could relax. You were born with it to multiply it. And multiplication takes movement. It takes sweat. It takes repetition when nobody is clapping. You can't wait for motivation to show up. Motivation comes after movement, not before. If you're always waiting to feel inspired, you'll stay stuck in the cycle of laziness. The champions of the world don't wait for inspiration. They work, and inspiration meets them in the work. Think about athletes. The most naturally gifted ones don't always win. It's the ones who train in the rain, show up sore, push when it burns, and study the game. Those are the ones who dominate. In fact, many of the world's top performers were overlooked early in life because they weren't naturally gifted. But they made up for it with obsession. They decided, I might not have it all now, but I'll earn what I don't have. And they did, because work makes room for what talent alone can't hold. Lazy people hide behind talent. I could do that if I wanted to. But they don't. I'm just waiting for the right time. But it never comes. If I really tried, I'd be the best. But they never try. Meanwhile, the world forgets them. Because no one remembers what you could have done. They remember what you actually did. Talent without work is a shadow. It follows you around, but it never leads you to greatness. Even in relationships, talent without work fails. You can be charming, attractive, and good with words, but if you're not working on your character, your gift becomes manipulation. Talent may open the door, but your work determines whether you stay inside. In business, talent might land you a client, but only work will keep that client. In school, talent might get you praise, but only work gets you results. In life, talent might get you attention, but only work earns you impact. You don't need to be the best, but you do need to work like someone else is already ahead of you, because they probably are. The difference is they're not relying on talent alone. They're treating their gift like an assignment, not a trophy. When you treat your talent like a trophy, you place it on a shelf and dust it occasionally. When you treat it like an assignment, you grow it, protect it, sharpen it, and deliver it. If you're waiting for someone to come validate your gift, wake up. Nobody's coming to rescue untapped potential. The market doesn't care how talented you are. It rewards what you deliver. The world won't pay for your potential. It pays for your results. You want to honor your gift. Then get to work. Train it. Use it. Fail with it. Start again. Master it. Because talent without work is not a blessing. It's a trap that convinces you you're special, but keeps you stuck in a fantasy. Pain is the price of progress. Pay it. Pain is not your enemy. Pain is the evidence that growth is happening. The lazy mind runs from pain. It avoids discomfort. It dodges responsibility. But the truth is, if you run from pain, you also run from progress. You cannot evolve in comfort. You cannot become the version of yourself you admire by staying inside the shell of who you are. Every butterfly was once a caterpillar that had to struggle inside a dark cocoon. No one came to open it for them. It had to break itself out. That's pain. That's pressure. That's the price of transformation. Look around at anyone successful in business, relationships, purpose, even health. And behind every victory is a story full of sacrifice, discomfort, and long nights of grinding. The lazy mind wants the result without the resistance. But no one becomes strong in a place where nothing tests them. The gym of life is pain. The weights you lift are setbacks, failures, delays, betrayal, rejection, being misunderstood and still pushing, still showing up, still believing. Every rep of hardship is shaping your character. You want emotional strength. Go through heartbreak and still choose to love again. You want financial wisdom. Make some painful mistakes with money and learn the lessons that books can't teach. You want to lead. Then be prepared to be criticized, judged, blamed, and talked about, and still remain committed. The price of leadership is loneliness. The price of greatness is rejection. The price of mastery is failure. So don't cry about the pain. Learn to collect it. Stack it like bricks and build with it. Some people go through pain and get bitter. Others go through pain and get better. What makes the difference? Perspective. The lazy mind says, why me? The progressive mind says, what is this trying to teach me? Pain doesn't come to destroy you. It comes to expose what still needs development. It's the tutor of champions. Pain teaches you what comfort never will. When everything is going right, you don't grow. You relax. But when everything falls apart, you discover who you really are. That's when your muscles of resilience, patience, courage, and vision get trained. Think of a seed. It must be buried in darkness, in the cold soil, unseen and forgotten. But in that pressure, something begins to break. Roots start to go down before the stem rises up. That's pain. But without that underground process, there's no fruit. Some of you are in that underground season. It's not punishment, it's preparation. The pain is not permanent, but the progress it produces will last for generations if you endure it. Imagine a student studying for an exam that determines their entire future. Long nights, eyes burning, back aching, friends going out while they stay in. That's pain. But they're paying now so they can enjoy the reward later. Meanwhile, someone else is enjoying now and will pay later with regret. Either way, the pain must be paid. You choose whether you pay it in discipline or in disappointment. People see athletes win medals and cheer, but they didn't see the years of training, waking up at 5 a.m., the injuries, the missed parties, the diets, the sacrifices. They didn't see the pain, they just see the podium. But the podium is made of pain. Pain layered upon pain, turned into performance. The lazy mind wants the podium without the process. It wants the crown without the cross. But crowns are heavy, and only pain can build the neck strong enough to carry it. Even in relationships, pain is the price of intimacy. You cannot build deep connections without being vulnerable. And vulnerability can hurt. It means trusting again after betrayal, forgiving after offense, showing up when you feel neglected. The lazy mind shuts down, avoids, detaches. But the strong mind leans in and chooses the hard path, because love that lasts is built through pain that's processed, not avoided. Pain will introduce you to parts of yourself that comfort hides. Pain reveals your inner warrior. It wakes up the giant inside. That's why every person you admire went through something they didn't post about. Behind every powerful voice is a painful valley. Behind every wise mind is a wilderness season. Behind every impactful life is a story of struggle. You are not weak because you feel pain. You are being trained because you're capable of more. But here's the challenge: the lazy mind will always offer you an escape route. It will say, just quit. Why try again? It's too hard. But those voices don't come from your purpose. They come from your fear. Fear hates pain because pain leads to power. So fear will tell you it's not worth it. But purpose says, endure it. Because on the other side of that painful push is the version of you you've been praying to become. Pain is a seed. If you bury it in discipline, it will bloom into destiny. But if you bury it in excuses, it will rot into regret. Every time you say yes to pain with the right perspective, you grow. You expand. You outgrow the old you. Growth doesn't feel good, but it is good. Growth is uncomfortable, but is always necessary. Your future is demanding that you go through what others run from. Your next level has a password, and it's written in sweat, tears, sacrifice, and persistence. Most people want to be successful until it gets painful. They want to live free until it costs too much. But freedom is not free. It requires work. Breaking generational patterns, painful. Building a new mindset, painful. Starting over after failure, painful. But do it anyway. Because the pain of staying the same will one day feel heavier than the pain of change. Pain is the price of progress. And it is always, always worth ISO now that you've heard the truth. What will you do with it? You've been carrying potential inside you like a lion locked in a cage, but you've let excuses hold the key. You've been living under the lie that comfort is your friend. But comfort has never built a legacy. Comfort has never made a name worth remembering. It is pain, pressure, and purpose that forge greatness. And the truth is, your destiny is allergic to laziness. There comes a time when you stop waiting for a miracle and realize you are the miracle. The mind is a battlefield, and every day you either win with discipline or lose with doubt. You don't need another motivational quote. You need a confrontation with your own habits. You don't need more inspiration. You need transformation. And transformation doesn't happen by accident. It happens by decision. Decide today, I will no longer bow to lazy thoughts that sabotage my future. You've been given 24 hours every day. Same as the champions, same as the millionaires, same as the world changers. The only difference, they stopped negotiating with their excuses. They stopped letting their feelings make decisions. Your feelings don't define your future. Your focus does. You may not control every event in your life, but you absolutely control your effort, your consistency, and your mindset. Remember this: success is not owned, it is leased. And the rent is due every single day. You don't get to win once and retire. You win because you wake up and do it again, and again, and again. Greatness is a pattern, not a moment. It's brushing off failure and choosing to try again when nobody claps for you. It's showing up with the same fire on day 99 that you had on day 1, even when it feels like no one's watching. You say you're tired. Good, that means you're doing something. That means you're not like the ones who quit when it got tough. Be tired, but don't you dare stop. Be wary, but don't you dare give up. Because diamonds are just pieces of coal that refuse to crumble under pressure. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be persistent. It's not about how fast you move, it's about how consistent you are. Progress is still progress, even if it's slow. Crawl if you must, but never stop. The road to your destiny is paved with discipline. And yes, it will be lonely. Yes, it will hurt. But hear me, temporary pain is better than permanent regret. Do not let the voice of comfort talk you out of the vision inside of you. There are books you haven't written, businesses you haven't started, lives you haven't touched, all because you're still flirting with procrastination and dancing with laziness. Enough. Wake up, lock in, and move. Your dreams will not chase you back. Your goals will not apologize for the time you wasted. You either rise and claim them, or watch someone else live the life you were supposed to. And if you keep waiting for the right moment, you'll look up one day and realize the moment passed you. It's not about being ready, it's about being willing. Burn this into your mind. Discipline weighs ounces, regret weighs tons. One costs you for a moment, the other will haunt you for a lifetime. And if it's heavy now, good. That means you're carrying something worth birthing. Labor pains only mean something new is about to be born. Don't let the pressure fool you. It's proof you're on the right path. So let the world sleep while you grind. Let the doubters mock you while you build. Let the lazy laugh now. You'll be the one they watch later. Because while they were scrolling, you were studying. While they were complaining, you were creating. And when they finally realize what they missed, you'll be living what you once only dreamed of. There is fire in you. Discipline is your weapon. And your destiny is not in tomorrow. It's waiting on the decision you make right now. Will you continue to let a lazy mindset sabotage a powerful calling? Or will you rise like the warrior you were born to be and say, enough is enough. I choose to become everything I was created to be. Because the truth is simple. If you want something you've never had, you've got to do something you've never done. No more waiting, no more wishing, no more wasting. It's time. Let your actions speak louder than your excuses. The battlefield is in your mind. Now go win the war.